All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We've got an active zero-day threat, so let's get straight to the intelligence. We are now initiating Phase 1, the zero-day advisory. This is the immediate threat disclosure. You're going to want to pay close attention. Okay, let's break this down. The vulnerability is being tracked as CVE-2025-61612. Now, what we're looking at is a remote denial of service. In plain English, that means an attacker from anywhere in the world can crash your device's modem, basically turning it into a brick. And get this, the critical takeaways are right there. It's remote, it requires no authentication, and there's zero user interaction needed. This is a completely silent and invisible attack vector.
Now have a look at the timeline here, because the speed of this coordinated disclosure on March 9th tells you everything you need to know. At just past 5 a.m., Unisoc, the vendor, drops the initial advisory. By the afternoon, NIST is already on it, mapping the entire attack surface. And then, just a couple hours after that, CSET jumps in to classify the root cause. A timeline this fast, well, it shows you just how seriously this is being taken at the highest levels.
So let's be crystal clear about our objective here. This advisory is designed for two specific reasons. One, to give you the immediate intel you need to start securing your systems. And two, to apply public pressure to make sure the vendor rolls out a patch, and fast. Okay, that brings us to Phase 2. Before we dive deeper into the technical side of things, we need to establish our Community Threat Intelligence Protocol. This is standard operating procedure when we're dealing with an evolving threat like this. I need you to follow this protocol exactly. First, make sure you are subscribed. That establishes a secure channel so you get real-time intel as this situation develops. Second, hit like. Think of it as an acknowledgement of receipt, so we know this critical advisory is reaching you. And finally, comment on your status. Are you patched? Are you vulnerable? This intel is absolutely critical for us to map the blast radius and really understand the scope of the exposure out there. All right, comms check complete. We are now entering Phase 3, the deep dive protocol. Let's break down the technicals. This is the #1 question on everyone's mind, right? What is the blast radius? Who is directly in the line of fire here? Okay, here are the specific configurations we know are at risk. The exposure footprint covers Android versions 13 all the way through 16. If your device is running any of those OS versions and it's powered by a Unisoc chipset from the T7300, T8100, T8200, T8300, or T9100 series, you have to assume you are vulnerable. Now, the standardized threat score, the CVSS score, is a 7.5 out of 10. That officially puts this in the high severity category. And look, that's not some arbitrary number. It's calculated based on a formula. It's a 7.5 because the attack vector is over the network, the complexity is low, it requires zero privileges, no user interaction, and it has a high impact on system availability. That's the story that number tells. The root cause here is what we call CVE-20, or improper input validation. In simple terms, think of it this way. The modem's firmware doesn't check the data it gets from the network. It just trusts it. An attacker can craft a malicious piece of data, send it over, and because the firmware doesn't know how to handle it, the whole modem, and maybe the whole device, just crashes. Now, this next point is absolutely crucial. Your standard security measures, things like firewalls or antivirus software that you've installed on your Android OS, they are completely ineffective here. Why? Because this attack hits the modem's firmware, which operates on a layer below the main operating system. Your software can't see it, so it can't stop it. This brings us to the only thing that works, the mandatory remediation protocol. Step 1, you have to identify your device's chipset. Step 2, you need to be monitoring your specific device manufacturer. I'm talking about the company that made your phone, not just Google, for their security bulletins. And step 3, and this is the most important. When that over-the-air firmware patch is released, you apply it immediately. There is no other workaround. And that brings us to the final phase of this advisory, the code and sign-off. You know, there's a reason we practice coordinated vulnerability disclosure. Our entire code is built around protecting the end user. By dragging this threat out into the light, we expose the risk, and we force the urgent action that's needed for manufacturers to get a patch out to you. Hiding a problem has never made anyone more secure. That concludes this advisory. Acknowledge the threat, apply the patch, stay secure.